I thought the breakup had been peaceful.
Clean.
Amelia, princess of Beijing's elite circle, had finally reunited with her long-lost first love. And me? I had played my role as the stand-in, the placeholder, the one who warmed her world while she waited. In the end, I bowed out with dignity. 40 million yuan as a breakup fee, and I walked away without looking back. It should have been over. Simple. Dignified. So tell me, why, just days later, was Amelia suddenly hunting me down, threatening to kill me? I swear, I hadn't done a thing. The only crime I committed was going on a blind date. Finding someone new. Was that really such a big deal? Wait, Vincente. You? On a blind date? The voice of disbelief came from Justin, owner of the high-end Western restaurant where I was sitting. My so-called blind date hadn't even arrived yet, so Justin, also one of my closest friends, was keeping me company across the table. His eyebrows shot up as he looked at me. The granddaughter of my grandfather's old friend, I said casually, swirling the ice cubes in my whiskey glass. The old man wanted me to meet her before he passed, just to see if we'd be compatible. Justin nodded but couldn't hide the hesitation tugging at his face. Finally, he leaned in, lowering his voice. And what about Amelia? You liked her so much 4 years together. You're really just fine with ending it like that? Like that. I let out a faint laugh. Good word, but not quite right. I raised my glass, took a slow sip, and smiled. The breakup came with 40 million yuan. That's hardly light. Call it the last shred of decency she had left. Justin let out an indignant huff, shaking his head. Then something flickered across his face. Awkward, troubled. He rubbed his nose, glancing at me. Vincente, sorry. I didn't get your stuff back from Amelia's place. I froze. What do you mean, didn't get them back? After the breakup, I'd left immediately for my grandfather's funeral in the countryside. I had only just returned to a city yesterday. Justin had kindly offered to pack up my belongings from Amelia's apartment in the meantime. After all, once you accept 40 million, the least you can do is clear out and give the woman her space. But the way Justin rubbed his forehead told me something wasn't right. His big frame looked almost spooked. It was terrifying, he admitted. When I went to pack, Amelia wasn't at the office. She was at home, just sitting there on the sofa, staring at me, not saying a single word. Man, I swear, it gave me chills. And then, when I finished packing and was about to leave with your suitcase, she suddenly said, Justin, you have nice hands. How about I chop them off? Justin shuddered at the memory. I nearly pissed myself. Now that sounded like Amelia. The Liu family held absolute power in Beijing, and if their precious daughter wanted someone's hands chopped off, well, it would happen. Still, it didn't add up. We'd broken up so neatly, so peacefully. Why would she go out of her way to unsettle Justin or tamper with my things? Justin leaned closer, voice dropping to a whisper. Honestly, I don't think she actually wants to break up with you. I shook my head, almost amused. Impossible. Everyone in our circle knows the truth about Amelia and me. Years ago, her first love, Peter, had left her to chase his dreams. Not only had he rejected her, he'd abandoned her without so much as a goodbye, vanishing overseas. For a long time, Amelia had been shattered. And me? I stayed. I stayed by her side, quietly supporting her, never asking for anything in return. Then came Christmas morning 4 years ago. She'd been hungover, as usual. I handed her honey water, like I always did. She looked at me suddenly, her expression softened, and asked, Vincente, do you like me? My face burned red. I shook my head, fumbling over my words. Yes, but don't worry, I don't expect. Let's be together. For words. That's how it started. For words. For years. I gave everything. I replaced Peter without complaint. I took care of her in every way I could. And though Amelia stayed distant, she publicly acknowledged me as her boyfriend. To the outside world, I was the most successful stand-in anyone had ever seen. And for a while I believed it too. I truly thought we'd spend our lives together. But then, our 4-year anniversary arrived. Peter came back. With just 3 words, "Amelia, I miss you," he pulled her straight to the airport. That same day, I had been at home, decorating with balloons, ready to propose. Instead of a fiancé, all I got was 40 million yuan wired into my account. Her first love had returned, and I had been discarded. So when Justin suggested she might not want to break up, I just shrugged, forcing myself to sound calm. How could she not? Everyone knows about Peter's return. All I want now is to live quietly in a city and never run into them again for the rest of my life. Justin nodded, relief on his face.
Yeah.
Seeing them again would be way too awkward. But then, my eyes narrowed. Because just over Justin's shoulder, I saw her. Amelia. Standing in the doorway of the restaurant, her gaze locked on me. My sigh slipped out before I could stop it. "Justin," I muttered. "Your mouth really does make things happen." There were 3 reasons I'd chosen Justin's restaurant for this blind date. First, it was close to the main branch of my hot pot restaurant. Second, it was near the home of the woman I was supposed to meet. And third, most importantly, Justin and his wife weren't connected to Amelia's glittering world. They didn't belong to her circle. That meant safety, privacy. No chance of bumping into anyone who might drag the past back into my present. Or so I thought. Who could have predicted this? Justin muttered with a nervous smile. But even his voice lacked conviction. Amelia was already walking toward us. She didn't say a word, just lifted an eyebrow at Justin, and that was all it took for him to vanish, like a chicken with its neck caught in a farmer's grip. I almost laughed. Was Amelia really that terrifying? I poured another glass of whiskey, my movement steady, my smile calm. Then I looked at her, the woman I hadn't seen in over 10 days, and gestured to the seat across from me. "Miss Liu," I said, voice smooth. "Care to join me?" To my surprise, I wasn't nervous. Not anymore. But Amelia didn't move. She just sat there, her delicate, luminous eyes locked on mine. Her beauty was undeniable, stunning, otherworldly. Yet it wasn't her looks that weighed on me now. It was the silence, the pressure, the way she could fill a room without speaking a single word. And for the first time since our breakup, I realized this wasn't over. This was what people meant when they spoke of power. Amelia didn't need to raise her voice or even lift a finger. Her presence alone pressed down like a weight. I tightened my grip around the whiskey glass, but my smile stayed calm, unbroken. Half a minute passed in silence before she finally curved her lips into a smile. She lifted an eyebrow, reached for my glass, and cradled it in her hand. She didn't drink. She just studied me, her gaze sharp, probing. "When did you come back?" "Yesterday," I answered smoothly, with a faintest smile. "I've got a business to run. Unlike Miss Liu, I can't afford to waste time." Her expression softened, just slightly. She nodded. "Here to see Justin?" I was about to respond when another figure appeared. A woman, stunning in her own right, elegant and composed. White chiffon blouse, black pencil skirt, every inch of her refined. She stopped at the table, her eyes flickering between Amelia and me, hesitation glinting in them. Her voice was soft, almost like water. "Vincente." I stood. "That's me. Are you Angelica?" She nodded, then turned to Amelia. "Did I come early?" Or, her tone grew careful, "Did you arrange another blind date?" At that, Amelia's expression darkened instantly. Her voice cut through the air like ice. "You're here for a blind date?"
Yes.
"I am." My lips curved into a faint smile. "So, shall I not see you off, Miss Liu?" Her brows drew together, her displeasure plain. But she didn't leave. Instead, her gaze slid to Angelica, sharp and darkening. "Miss Liu." I lowered my tone, trying one more time, politely inviting her to go. The way she was scrutinizing my guest was more than impolite, it was cruel. "Why the rush?" she countered, one brow lifting, eyes locked on me with a look I couldn't read. Then she smirked. A cold, bitter sound slipped from her lips. "After all, we shared a bed for 4 years. Surely, I should at least take a look at your new partner." Her words struck deeper than I wanted to admit. My fists clenched under the table. Amelia, how much more damage do you want to do? But I kept my voice steady, my smile cool. There's no need for that, Miss Liu. My grandfather chose her for me. His judgment won't be wrong. Her eyes narrowed, sharp as blades, but she said nothing. Then, salvation in the form of a ringtone. Amelia frowned, pulled out her phone. And just like that, her face softened. Amelia, aren't you here yet? The voice on the other end was low, magnetic, recognizable even before my brain processed it.
Peter.
Amelia's gaze flicked to mine, shadows swirling in her eyes. I'm here, downstairs. I ran into a friend, exchanged a few words, and now I'm coming up. A friend. Exchanged a few words. Her dismissal cut sharper than a knife. I clenched my fists so tight my nails dug into my palms, pain shooting through my chest. Still, I managed to smile. She hung up, rose gracefully, smoothing her dress. Please continue. I won't disturb you. And with that, she walked upstairs, leaving me behind with a dull ache that felt far too familiar. Angelica, meanwhile, sat down across from me, her expression calm, serene, her lips curving into a soft smile. So, Mr. Su, is it my turn now? Her words tugged me back from the storm in my chest. I blinked, surprised. Miss Jiang, you still want to continue? Angelica's red lips curled faintly, her composure flawless. Why wouldn't I? First of all, I can see what's going on here, and I don't think you've done anything wrong. Second, I'm not naive. I don't care if a man has had other women before. And third, her eyes sharpened just slightly. Aside from this blind date, I have another matter I need you to take responsibility for, Mr. Su. I froze, stunned. Responsibility? A wealthy young lady asking me to take responsibility. What on earth? For what? I hadn't even met her before. Angelica's lips pressed together. Then, in a voice as calm as before, she said, I have a dog, and he eats skewers. My brain nearly short-circuited. What? She pulled out her phone, slid it across the table. Here. On the screen, a grainy surveillance video played. The timestamp made my stomach clench. The night Amelia and I broke up. There I was, sitting on the curb outside my hot pot restaurant, 40 million yuan tossed carelessly on the ground, a bottle of wine clutched in my hand. I was a mess, sobbing like a fool. And next to me a dog, gnawing on the leftover skewers I'd brought out. In the video, the drunken me bent down, holding the dog's floppy ear, rambling through tears. Little guy, why are you out here alone with a tag on your neck? Were you abandoned too? Damn it, so was I. Don't eat those skewers, they're cold. See that restaurant? I own it. Come back tomorrow, same time. We'll be brothers in misery, and I'll feed you properly every day. Watching myself on screen, I wanted to crawl into a hole and never come out. Angelica's voice broke the silence. The surveillance is clear. My Max came back the next night. He waited outside your restaurant all night, but you never showed. I froze, guilt flooding me, because I remembered the next day I got the call. My grandfather's condition had worsened. I'd rushed to the countryside. Angelica locked her phone, looked at me with steady eyes. Since then, my Max has learned the cruelty of the human heart. He's been depressed ever since. I slumped back, stricken. I tricked a dog into depression. This guilt, it's unbearable. I'll fix it. I'll treat him. I'll take care of him. We'll buy the best skewers, the best food. I'll apologize to Max in person. Angelica's lips twitched. She pulled up her WeChat QR code, sliding it across the table like a test. Clearly, she didn't trust me yet. I fumbled for my phone, scanning it immediately. Her profile lit up on my screen. Her picture was a golden retriever, Max himself. Covering my face, I muttered, Miss Jiang, don't worry. I'll take responsibility. Angelica's lips curved, but she gave no answer. Just one simple word. Let's go. And without hesitation, I rose to follow her. Just as I was about to follow Angelica out, the sharp click of high heels echoed from above. Instinctively, My gaze lifted to the staircase on the second floor. Amelia was there, standing tall, her eyes locked on me, deep and unreadable. Behind her trailed a group of young socialites, the same ones who had looked down on me for years. During my 4 years with Amelia, these women never saw me as more than a shadow at her side. I was ready to turn away when another figure descended. A man in a perfectly tailored black suit, his every movement polished and refined.
Peter.
My jaw tightened. From behind the bar, I caught sight of Justin, frozen, pale, mouthing desperately at me. I didn't know. Peter's face lit up the moment he spotted me, as though he hadn't stolen 4 years of my life with a single sentence. Vincente, you're here too. Long time no see. I forced a smile. Hope you've been well. He gestured helplessly toward the women clustered behind him. I just got back, and Amelia and her friends insisted on throwing me a welcome party here. I didn't even want to come. But since Amelia's opening a hot pot restaurant on this street for me, I figured I should check it out. Then, without hesitation, he slipped his arm around Amelia's waist. Intimately. Possessively. He looked back at me, smiling. You're in the hot pot business too, right? Guess we'll be in the same industry now. Why don't you come and help me look over the place? Competition? Normally, I wouldn't care. But this wasn't just anyone, it was Peter. His family's empire was worth billions. They had no reason, no need, to set foot in the hot pot trade. And yet here he was, stepping directly onto my street, into my world. My family had once stood among Beijing's elite. But after my parents died, I was just a boy, clueless, powerless. The vulture circled, the uncles and shareholders stripped everything away. What I was left with was nothing but a failing hot pot chain. And Amelia, she had seen it all. She had watched me fight, bleed, and claw my way through those years until the business finally stood on its own 2 feet. She knew.
She knew what it meant to me.
So when her gaze slid over me and Angelica, and she said coldly, "Don't be petty. Helping Peter won't hurt you." I almost laughed. No harm? Peter threw her away, then came back and reclaimed her. And now he wanted to invade my business, my last pride, and I was supposed to smile and welcome him? Where did he get the nerve? Vincente, come along. Peter asked again, all sincerity, as if he hadn't just twisted the knife. I opened my mouth, a sneer already forming. He's busy. Not available. The voice didn't come from me. It came from Angelica. She had been quiet until now, but suddenly every eye turned toward her. Calm, unbothered, she smiled faintly, her brows arching as she looked at Amelia. He's coming with me. Then she tilted her head toward me, playful, her tongue peeking out just slightly. Didn't you say you'd take responsibility for me? Let's go. Take responsibility. The way she said it, it was subtle, but it landed. I shot her a grateful glance and nodded. Let's go. Going home with someone you just met? Amelia's words sliced the air. Vincente, do you have no shame? The room went silent. Even her friends looked stunned. Anger surged in me. And you, clutching onto your current boyfriend while keeping tabs on your ex, do you have any shame? If she was so busy opening hot pot restaurants with Peter, why did she care where I went? Before I could say more, Angelica stopped at the door. She turned back, her eyes sharp but her smile soft. Miss Liu, she said smoothly, Vincente and I didn't just meet. We go way back. Amelia froze. For the first time, her expression cracked. Angelica didn't wait. She slipped her arm through mine, leading me toward the exit. Her perfume drifted lightly, brushing over me, and for a moment half my body went numb. My mind buzzed. Her words strange, yes, but not entirely wrong. Max. The dog lay on the balcony, like an old soul in a young body, eyes clouded with hurt. I knelt down, one knee pressing the carpet. Max, I was wrong. I was really wrong. I set down a bowl of premium dog food in front of him, pleading, "Please eat." Angelica sat quietly on the sofa, watching me. At first, I thought she was laughing at my desperation. But when I glanced over, her face was unreadable, serious, maybe even thoughtful. It wasn't until Max finally let me stroke his head, leaning weakly into my arms, that the tension broke. Outside, the sky had already slipped into darkness. "I'm hungry," Angelica said suddenly. "Can you cook?" I blinked. Yes. With Amelia, meals had always been complicated. Her tastes were picky, delicate. I'd spent years cooking for her, honing my skills until even the smallest dish was perfect. So when Angelica gave her request, I didn't argue. She knelt on the carpet, playing with Max, not giving me a chance to refuse. I rolled up my sleeves and moved to the kitchen. 2 dishes, simple but thoughtful. By the time I placed them on the table, my phone rang loud in my pocket. The sound jolted me so hard I almost dropped the plate. I set it down, fished out my phone, and answered without checking the screen. "Hello." A cold, familiar voice slid through the speaker. "Your things are still at my place. Come get them."
Now.
I froze, staring at the screen to confirm what I already knew. Amelia. Amelia. She was calling me at this hour, demanding I come collect my things. "It's too late," I told her flatly. "I'll send someone tomorrow." The line went quiet. For a moment, all I heard were her breaths, sharp and restrained. Then her voice cut through, cold and commanding. "It has to be now." I drew in a long breath, baffled. "Then just throw them away, Miss Liu." The only reason I'd even considered going back was because some of those belongings were gifts from my grandfather. But if it meant another tie to Amelia, I'd rather burn the bridge. When someone dies, things lose their weight. I'd already done my duty as his grandson. The keepsakes, if I kept them, good. If not, so be it. I sighed, ready to end the call. But behind me, Angelica stirred, her voice soft and pained. "Ow, that hurts." I turned instantly, catching her by the arm. "You've been kneeling too long. Look, your knees are all red." Annoyed, she shot me a look. "How was I supposed to know you'd take this long?" And then, bang. A crash exploded from both the phone speaker and the front door. My blood ran cold. Amelia's voice came through, low and venomous. "Vincente, are you coming out on your own, or should I break down the door and drag you out?" I froze in disbelief. She was outside. She had actually come here. Her voice over the line snapped like ice. 3, 2. I clenched my fist, forcing my anger down.
Fine.
I'll come out. With Amelia's spoiled princess temper, I knew she would do it. She would shatter the door without a second thought. But before I could move, Angelica reached the door first. She pulled it open, standing tall in defiance. "Does Miss Liu need something?" Amelia's fists trembled at her sides, her face carved in anger. But she didn't even glance at Angelica. Her eyes found me, sharp and accusing. "You have time to spend 5 hours at her place, but no time to pick up your own things?" I bit back my frustration. "Is there no tomorrow, Miss Liu? Is one night really that urgent?" Her answer was calm, but each word cut like glass. "Peter's staying at my place tonight. I don't want him uncomfortable seeing your things. And I don't want you accusing me later of holding on to them. Best if you take them all once and for all." The wound inside me tore wider, bleeding raw. My hand tightened on the door handle. I forced a bitter smile.
Fine.
"I'll get them now." The car ride was silent. For the first time, I sat beside Amelia with nothing left to say. I leaned back, eyes closed, letting the hum of the engine drown me out. Then, her voice broke the stillness. "Do you like her?" My eyes snapped open, meeting her gaze in the rearview mirror. Her eyes glistened with something I couldn't place. After 3 long seconds, I answered.
"Yes."
"She's pretty good." A hollow laugh escaped her. "Pretty good. Seems like you've been doing just fine these past few days." "I thought maybe you would." I raised a brow. "Would what?" "Nothing." She smiled faintly, turned back to the road, and the silence fell again. By the time we arrived, Justin had already packed everything. 2 heavy suitcases waited by the dining table. Amelia sat nearby, sipping her water calmly, her eyes never leaving me. I had no intention of staying in this house. Not anymore. The place was too familiar and far too strange. Every corner a reminder of what we once had and what we lost. I grabbed the suitcase handles, ready to leave. But then her hand caught my wrist.
Firm.
Relentless. Vincente, she whispered, her eyes lifting to mine with that same superiority she always wore. Weren't you madly in love with me? And now, after just a few days, you've moved on? You can really be so calm, so collected with another woman? Do you even believe that yourself? Rage flared in my chest. Her words, the mockery, were worse than when she shoved a breakup fee in my face. Did she truly not know how I'd loved her these for years? Did she think my devotion gave her the right to humiliate me now? I yanked my wrist free, my gaze sharp as steel. Does it matter if I've moved on? What matters is that I've respected our ending. I haven't bothered you once. But you, Miss Liu, what are you doing today? My lips curled into a bitter smile. First time I've heard of Miss Liu offering after-sales service for her lovers. Could it be that now, when it's almost over, you've realized you can't let me go? Her eyes wavered. For the first time, emotion flickered. And then, quietly, dangerously, she asked, "What if I say yes?" My chest tightened. For a moment, I wondered if I'd misheard her.
But no.
Amelia stood, stepped closer, and suddenly her arms slid around my waist. She pressed her cheek to my chest, her sigh trembling. "If this is a tactic of yours, congratulations. You've won. Come back to me. Let's start again." She rose on her toes, lips brushing mine, her voice barely a whisper. "Haven't you missed me these days? Because I've missed you. A little." Her body pressed soft against me, her gaze smoldering with that dangerous, sultry edge. The atmosphere thickened, suggestive, pulling me in. But all I could think about was Peter. A living, breathing man. Amelia's new man. And yet here she was kissing me. Wait, what about Peter? Her eyes narrowed, her voice steady with conviction. "I'll find a place for you." She looked me dead in the eye and said it. "He'll never know. I want both of you." Something inside me snapped. I shoved her away, my hand trembling with the urge to strike, but stopping just short. "Where do you get the audacity?" I hissed. "To think I'd ever settle for being your side guy?" Did Amelia even see me as a man anymore? Or had my love for her been so blind, so deep, that she thought she could trample me and I'd still crawl back? "Vincente." Her voice was cold, her smile sharper than glass. "There's a limit to how long you can play hard to get. This is your chance. If you walk out that door today," her eyes burned into mine, "don't ever think about coming back." I turned, my sneer cutting through the tension like a blade. "Hold on tight to your Peter.
Move on."
The only place you'll ever see me again is the crematorium." That was the last time I saw Amelia. Not surprising. A woman like her, proud and untouchable, after a rejection that brutal, it was a miracle she didn't unleash her wrath on me. But Amelia didn't return. Instead, Peter's hot pot restaurant made its grand debut. And where did he put it? Just one street away from mine. To celebrate, they slashed prices, 70% off for a full month. Burning money like it was nothing, pulling customers in like moths to a flame. Every hot pot shop on the street felt the sting. Mine included. I only survived because I still had that 40 million yuan in reserves. Even then, I lost 30% of my customers overnight. When you're fighting a giant with endless pockets, what can you do? I sat on the curb outside my restaurant, Max at my side, running my hand over his fur as I stared at the financial report in my hand. "All right, Max," I muttered, tugging gently at his floppy ear. "Give me some analysis. What else can we do besides price and flavor?"
Woof.
He barked twice, eyes darting toward the end of the street. I followed his gaze. There she was, Angelica, walking toward me in a beige dress, high heels clicking against the pavement, the kind of elegance that turns heads without trying. "Doctor, you're off early today," I called out with an easy smile. We'd grown close since that blind date, mostly because of Max. Her work kept her busy, so she often left him in my care. "No big surgeries today." She smiled back, pulling a lollipop from her pocket and holding it out to me. Something sweet to lift your spirits. I chuckled, shaking my head. Not much of a candy guy. Her brow arched. She unwrapped it, held it up to my lips. When I say eat, you eat. Open up. For a moment I froze.
Heat rose in my chest.
I was about to take it from her hand when Max tugged at the leash.
Hard.
Caught off guard, I stumbled forward, straight into Angelica. She caught me before I could hit the ground, and somehow I ended up holding her in my arms. Thump thump. Her body pressed against mine, soft, warm. My heartbeat went wild. My face flushed crimson. I scrambled back, flustered.
Wow.
Thanks for catching me. My handsome face would have been done for. Angelica rose slowly, her expression unreadable. Then, leaning in close, her breath brushed my ear as she whispered, "Mr. Sue, your heart was racing just now. Falling for me already? Since I saved you, shouldn't you repay me with your affection?" Her fragrance clouded my thoughts. My eyes widened. Was she actually making a move? Angelica.
Bold.
Fearless.
Woof. Woof.
Max's bark sliced through the moment like a lifeline. I spun around to see him blocking a customer who had just finished dining, teeth bared. Max. I rushed over, grabbing his leash. They paid already. Let them go. He growled, reluctant, but after a few tense seconds, he stepped aside. I quickly apologized, sending the customer on their way. Relieved, I crouched down, rubbing Max's head. Thanks, buddy.
You saved me.
I had no idea how to respond to her. But as I glanced up, across the street, I spotted Peter. His face was stormy, his steps heavy, like he'd just fought with someone. Strange. The man had love, money, everything. So, why did he look so defeated? Not my problem. What I didn't expect was this. By nightfall, Angelica, Max, and I had become an internet sensation. Earlier, a popular vlogger had been live streaming at my restaurant. They'd caught me on camera, squatting on the curb, asking Max for business advice like he was my partner. They filmed the stumble, the near fall, Angelica catching me, Max barking at customers. The internet ate it up. Hashtag watchdog, hashtag dogboss analyzes financials, hashtag beautiful coupleship, hashtag pure love drama, hashtag brave doctor innocent restaurateur, hashtags exploded onto the trending list. Around 2 a.m., I was dead asleep when the phone rang. Half conscious, I answered. Hello, who's this? Silence. I frowned, voice tightening. If you're not gonna speak, I'm hanging up. And then her voice. Amelia. Vincente, who gave you the nerve to be with her? Do you want to die? The very next second I hung up, rolled over, and slipped back into sleep. Just before drifting off, I muttered under my breath, a witch invading my dreams. How terrifying. What happened next, I never could have predicted. That silly little live stream, me, Max, and Angelica, exploded across the internet. Overnight, my quiet hot pot place turned into the hotspot. Lines stretched down the block. The 30% of customers Peter had stolen? They didn't just come back, they multiplied tenfold. All thanks to Angelica's charm and Max's antics. One evening, while I was closing up, Peter walked in. Smile plastered on his face, but his eyes told another story. Congratulations, Vincente. Your restaurant's really popular. I looked up, returned the smile, but cut to the chase. What do you want? It was late. I wanted him gone, not lingering. The mask dropped. His smile faded, arrogance slipping through like venom. Name your price, he said. I blinked. You want to buy my restaurant? Not just that. He leaned in, his voice cold. I want you to disappear from a city.
Completely.
I waved the waitress off, told her she could head home, then turned back to him with disdain heavy in my tone. What kind of nonsense is this? Beijing's a big city. As long as you and Amelia stay in your lane, we'll never cross paths. Peter chuckled darkly, eyes sharp with contempt. Don't fool yourself. Just because Angelica's hanging around you doesn't mean you can touch her world. Do you even know her background? Even if you dreamed of marrying into her family, they'd never accept a man running a little hot pot shop. Be smart. Take the money while your place still has value, before I ruin you myself. His words cut deep, not because I believed him but because, in a twisted way, he wasn't wrong. Compared to Angelica's world, my restaurant was nothing. But what I couldn't understand was why him? Why me? So I asked, Peter, help me get this straight. When I was with Amelia, you weren't even there. You left her. When you came back, I stepped aside without a word. No fights, no games, no trouble. So tell me, why the obsession with me? For the first time, his composure cracked. A flicker of anger burned in his eyes before he snarled. Amelia might be blind, but I'm not. It's obvious. She still has feelings for you. If I don't act now, am I supposed to just wait until you crawl back to replace me? The arrogance was still there, but beneath it, I saw the cracks. The insecurity bleeding through. Since I came back, he snapped. She hasn't let me touch her. She stares at her phone day and night, lost in thought. And when I kissed her, she whispered, Vincente, stop fooling around. His laugh was bitter, venom-laced. You think you're worthy of competing with me? Even if I didn't want her, what makes you think you could have her? And as for Angelica, what's wrong with her eyes? Falling for someone as dirty as you. Not as dirty as your mouth. The voice sliced through the room like a blade. Angelica's voice. Peter and I turned at the same time. There she was, framed in the doorway, her presence commanding, her eyes sharp. She strode forward, placing herself between us, shielding me. At least Vincente has integrity. He loves and hates with his whole heart. Unlike you, thick-skinned, shameless. You abandoned her, and now you come crawling back? You claim you went abroad to chase dreams, but the truth? You failed. And now you're back because you had no choice. I couldn't see Angelica's face from my angle, but Peter's face went pale, her words cutting deeper than any blade. And then, just as I was reeling from her fire, Angelica turned to me. Mischief sparkled in her eyes, a sly smile tugging at her lips. Don't worry, she said softly. My family doesn't talk like him. When we choose a son-in-law, we look at character, at how we feel. Then she glanced toward Max, sitting loyally by the door. And so does our dog. Me? Speechless. Was that supposed to be comforting? Or an insult? Later that night, after the shop was finally closed, the streets had grown quiet. Leaves rustled underfoot as Angelica and I walked side by side, Max trotting happily ahead. Sorry, Miss Jiang, I said gently. I keep troubling you, borrowing Max all the time. She laughed, eyes soft as she looked at her dog. He's grown up now. It's time for him to work, support the family. I chuckled, hesitated, then lowered my voice. And about the online rumors,
I'm sorry.
For someone like you, being tied to gossip like that, it can't be easy. She stopped walking. The streetlight caught her face, her eyes glimmering with something unreadable. She stepped closer, close enough that her arm looped around my neck, her lips brushing dangerously near. An apology, she whispered. I thought I'd get a reply. Her eyes sparkled with playful defiance. Mr. Vincente, I'm beautiful. Don't you think so? Here we go again. I knew I wasn't in love with her.
Not yet.
But Angelica, my grandfather's choice, this woman so bold, so breathtaking, was impossible to resist. When beauty stares you down, teasing, tempting, who doesn't waver? I tensed, every nerve sparking. Somehow, I managed to break free, pointing nervously at my building entrance. I'm home. Good night. And then I bolted, straight into the lobby, practically fleeing. Her laughter followed me, light and melodic. Vincente, you're too adorable. Even inside the elevator, my face was still burning red. I took a deep breath, scolding myself in silence. Vincente, how old are you? Haven't you seen a beautiful woman before? Haven't you ever been in love? It was just a woman confessing, so why was I acting like a schoolboy? I slapped my cheeks lightly, trying to pull myself together. But the moment I looked up and took a step forward, my heart nearly stopped. Someone was standing at my door. Amelia, the woman I hadn't seen in over a month. Her expression was icy, her heels clicking sharply against the quiet hallway floor as she stepped closer. Instinctively, I backed away. I couldn't help it. This Amelia felt different, darker, almost dangerous. And maybe that tiny retreat of mine was what set her off, because suddenly she lunged forward, straight into my arms. Vincente, hold me.
Kiss me.
I've missed you so much. Before I could react, her lips were on mine. Her kiss tasted of alcohol, sweet, bitter, heavy. My stomach dropped. I shoved her back, my voice sharp. Amelia, what are you doing? She staggered against the wall, drunken eyes locking onto mine, full of hurt. Are you really with her? I frowned, opened my mouth to speak, but she cut me off, her voice almost desperate. Break up with her. Come back to me. Let's start over. Then, as if something inside her cracked, her shoulders slumped, her voice trembling. Vincente, you've really won.
Completely.
I can't stand seeing you with someone else. That day, when you left, I thought I didn't care. But for the past month, I can't stop thinking about you. Nothing feels right without you. And the thought of you with Angelica, it's driving me mad. If she had said this any time in the past 4 years, I would have melted. I would have given her my heart, without hesitation. If she had shown even a flicker of this regret just a month earlier, she wouldn't have had to beg. I would have been hers.
But now?
Now it was too late. Far too late. I shook my head, gently pushing her away as I turned toward my door. Sorry, Amelia. But what does this have to do with me? Go back to Peter. Focus on your life with him. Stop clinging to what's already gone. I pressed my fingerprint against the lock. It beeped softly, and as I pulled the door open, her voice rose behind me, raw and desperate. I broke up with him. Is that good enough? My eyes widened. For a second, I thought I misheard. Is that good enough? As if I had been forcing her. As if I had that kind of power over her life. If I did, would I have been humiliated the way I had before? She stumbled closer, but stopped short. Maybe it was the alcohol, but her voice was softer, fragile, filled with a strange kind of surrender. I've spent this whole time convincing myself I loved Peter, that I was supposed to love him. But something's wrong. Nothing feels right. I can't even stand him touching me. I stepped inside, my tone calm, almost detached. Amelia, it doesn't matter anymore. Who you love has nothing to do with me. I really don't care. As long as you don't love me, that's enough. Her voice cracked, frantic, like a child denied what she wanted. Then tell me, what do I have to do to get you back? I tightened my grip on the door handle, still not turning around. You might want to call the police. But in the end, Amelia didn't call the police. I did. Because something happened at my restaurant. More than a dozen customers had collapsed with food poisoning, all rushed to the hospital. An anonymous report claimed my hot pot business had major safety violations. And at the same time, dirt from my past was dug up and twisted online. The story of how I stole Amelia from Peter while he was abroad. The internet turned vicious overnight. Fans who had once cheered for me and Angelica now cursed my name. Accusations flew. Hate poured in. But strangely, there was one silver lining. I got food poisoning too. Because I'd been eating at the restaurant myself every day. And suddenly, the mob online faltered. Okay, maybe it was an accident. Fine, I'll believe his food was bad, but I still don't trust his character. Wait, if Vincente's sick, did Angelica treat him? And yes, she did. I found myself lying in a hospital bed, Angelica at my side in her white coat, adjusting my fore with the focus of a surgeon. She was always warm, always gentle. But now her face was stern, serious. From under the blanket, I mumbled, "Is it serious?" "It's not," she said calmly. "Just rest a few days." "Then, why do you look so strict?" She scribbled my chart, didn't even look at me. "Because this is serious." Then she set her pen down and walked toward the door, tossing her last words over her shoulder like a verdict. "No sugar for you the next couple of days." Huh. Caught off guard, I blinked dumbly. Okay. A low chuckle came from the chair nearby. The police officer taking my statement leaned back, shaking his head knowingly. "Looks like you're in trouble," he said. I frowned. "Why do you say that?" He smirked, eyes flicking toward Angelica. "Because whoever did this to you, even if they turned to ashes, she'd dig them up just to question them." How foolish would someone have to be to go against Angelica? Just because she wasn't burdened with inheriting her family's empire didn't mean she wasn't sharp. Her family's influence ran deep. Even their dogs seemed smarter than most people. And suddenly, a chill crept through me. The fluid felt colder, heavier. A thought I didn't want to entertain pressed at the back of my mind. Angelica, the woman who was always warm, always gentle, could she really be this terrifying? Turns out, she absolutely could. Because even after someone confessed to sabotaging my hot pot restaurant, the police didn't stop. They kept digging, and their trail led straight to Peter. That night when Amelia stumbled back home drunk, still crying out for me, telling Peter she wanted to break things off, he snapped. Humiliation and jealousy pushed him to hatch a plan to destroy me for good. But once the police made it public, Peter's reputation collapsed overnight. And with it, the whole messy truth unraveled online. Netizens pieced together the story, and suddenly, Amelia's betrayal wasn't mine to carry alone. Wait, so Peter never even accepted Amelia's confession? How is that stealing someone? He didn't want her. Vincente cherished her for years, and then Peter had the nerve to swoop back in? My God, Vincente really got the worst deal. He gave her everything, and she tossed him aside. One post even revealed something most people hadn't known. The day Peter returned, I had decorated an entire villa to propose to Amelia. That detail set the internet on fire. Comments flooded in, tagging her one after another. "You missed out on a man who truly loved you. You walked away from the kind of devotion people spend their whole lives looking for." And then, the unthinkable happened. Amelia herself replied, "Yes, I regret it. I'm trying to win him back." The words hit like a thunderclap. Angelica was with me in the hospital when that reply appeared. I was sitting up in bed, chewing on an apple, when she suddenly turned her head toward me. Her expression was unreadable.
What?
"Am I not allowed to eat apples now?" I joked nervously. "You can eat it," she said softly, but her face stayed somber. I nodded, still suspicious, and took another bite. That's when her voice cut through the quiet again. "If," she hesitated, leaving the word hanging. I froze mid-chew. "If what?" Her eyes narrowed, her tone suddenly sharp. "If you're stupid enough to go back to her, I'll set my dog on you." And she meant it. Because that very night, Amelia appeared at my hospital door. Dressed to perfection, her eyes glittering with hope, she pulled a small velvet box from her pocket. I blurted, "Don't open it." My instinct, not my reason speaking. Her hand trembled, and tears welled in her eyes. "Why not? I already know you planned to propose to me that day. We were supposed to get married. Vincente, I'm ready now. Let's start over." For a long moment, she searched my face for something that wasn't there anymore. And I shook my head. Yes, I was going to propose. "But Amelia, you missed your chance." Her face crumpled, but stubbornness flared.
"No.
"You love me. You've loved me for so many years. We haven't missed our chance. Please, we can still begin again." Her conviction was suffocating, as if she wouldn't stop until I either gave in or broke entirely. So I gave her a cruel answer wrapped in a smile.
"Fine.
I'll give you a chance. If you can find the ring, we'll start over." Then I tossed the box out the window. Days later, when I stood at the hospital window with Angelica and her dog Max at her side, I watched Amelia combing the garden, searching desperately. She eventually found the box. But the ring was gone. Angelica glanced at me, her expression tight. "If she actually finds that ring, are you really going to take her back?" I couldn't help but laugh. "Of course." Her face darkened instantly, and Max's ears perked up like he was ready to attack. I let the suspense hang for just a moment, then pulled a ring from my pocket. But only if she actually finds it, because this wasn't about second chances. It was about teaching Amelia the pain of chasing something with all your strength, only to watch it slip away forever. Angelica smirked, shaking her head. Mr. Sue, you're ruthless. So bad. But I like it. Then, her voice softened, almost teasing. By the way, about our blind date, are you ready to give me an answer now? I crouched down to pat Max, grinning. What do you think, buddy? Max barked once, sharp and certain.